Welcome you here today. I'm the director of the French Chamber. Next to me, Mr. Mitko Vasilev, the executive director and member of the board of the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We are very happy to have you here today for this renewed format, speaking about smart technologies. And this year we added the topic of AI, as we consider that this is the future. So in the first place, I want to welcome you. Welcome to tomorrow. For me, we are now, tomorrow we are just trying to keep the pace of the development in the next few months, few years. I consider that AI is already in our homes. Smart technologies are already there. The two will be linked, and it will not take too much time for us to have AI deciding on our place or taking some actions instead of us. It's for the good and for the bad. I read yesterday a communique of the European Parliament where AI and technologies are considered in terms of justice, home affairs, and of course transparency in the relations between companies and state. This is another level. So the penetration of these technologies is already there in our society, and for me there will be a progressive introduction of these technologies and a moment of rupture where every one of us, even our children, will be in interaction with technologies. So it's better for us to know how to react, what is the legal framework, what are the technologies themselves. And we are expecting today Mrs. Milena Stojceva, Minister of Innovation and Growth, who will come probably in a few minutes, maybe after the first panelist. So we are expecting her, and now I have the pleasure to give the floor to my colleague, Mr. Vasilev. Mitko, please.
Yes, dear Mrs. Todorova Museting, dear Vesi, dear Mrs. Stoicho, as you have heard, she'll join us in a few minutes. Dear ladies and gentlemen, partner, members, and dear friends, increasingly the topic artificial intelligence, smart industry, smart cities, and digital transformation are part of our work and life. Today's event is a joint initiative of the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce and the French-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and it is always a pleasure to organize such nice events together. And our common goal is to present achievements, innovative projects, and best practices of French and German companies in the field of artificial intelligence, smart cities, digital management of various processes, and smart solutions. The smart city is a place where traditional networks and services are made more efficient by digital solutions for the benefit of citizens and businesses. The smart city includes smarter public transport networks, upgraded water and waste disposal facilities. The main benefit of introducing technological innovations in city is to improve the quality of life for all citizens. Digitalization has embraced all areas of our daily lives and is changing the way we work and live. In process, digital transformation not only delivers new products and services, but also demands new answers and solutions. Artificial intelligence particularly has potential to fundamentally change industry and business processes. There is increasing talk about the introduction of AI in different business areas. As AI has entered the corporate world, topics have begun to be discussed in the public domain. How human will be replaced in certain professions, how artificial intelligence will take over human functions in certain fields. What are the benefits, the solutions to the emerging challenges associated with these smart technologies, and artificial intelligence is now to be seen. Especially thanks for the support of our partner, Digital Technology Center, Commerzbank AG, Sofia branch, as well as all member companies participating in this panel. I wish all the participants much success and fruitful discussions. And now I give the floor to Mrs. Dobreva from Commerzbank. Please, Mrs. Dobreva, you have the floor.
Moderating this first session because the topics are amazing and I am sure you're gonna enjoy them very much. We are going to talk about what smart cities are, what smart buildings are, how Le Grand, for example, is contributing to smart buildings. We are gonna hear insights about telematics from Deloitte and many more topics of very interesting. So I would like to invite my 5 panelists today. To start with, Mr. Daniel Iliev, Account Manager Consulting in Deloitte. So please, welcome on stage. Take a seat. Svetozar Stojkov from Schneider Electric. Please have a seat. EcoStructure Solution Architect, very technological. I would like to invite Mr. Anton Krantev. Sorry. Welcome, Konica Minolta. Please have a seat. Yes. Thank you. I would like to invite Georgi Gyurov from Habitat. Welcome. Take a seat, please. And finally, Mr. Ludmil Daskalov from Le Grand. He's late? Oh, okay, okay. So we'll welcome him in a minute. In the meantime, I would like to start with Mr. Daniel Iliev, who's going to address a very interesting topic, which is actually very important for all of us, because it's about telematics in insurance underwriting and how the driver's behavior can change and can customize the contract for your automotive insurance, right? Yes. The floor is yours, Daniel.
Okay,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Thank you very much. Can I just get the pointer?
Yes, here it is.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm very excited to present this presentation to you. It's a topic I'm very passionate about. It's something that I've been focused on for, I don't know, the past 5-6 years. And it's really, for me, the future of insurance and where insurance is going to be going. It's going to change the game forever. Okay, let's see, how does this work? There we go. Okay, so a quick introduction. My name is Daniel Iliev. I recently joined Deloitte. I'm an actuary, having worked and specialized in non-life insurance with experience in the South African insurance industry, where I worked with multiple short-term insurers to develop their pricing strategies, their products, their telematics strategies, and really innovate their product offerings and what they bring to the market. Also with telematics and the data it generates, that's where the AI comes into it, which is why for today this is quite an appropriate topic to speak about. So what is telematics? And maybe if I can just ask by a show of hands, who has heard about this technology before, especially in an insurance context? Right, there's a few people, and it's really still in its infancy. So that's why I always say it's the revolution that's still going to come to insurance. And that's what's going to change the game. So if I can introduce it in this way, vehicle telematics, it's recording of how and where the vehicle's being used. So using telemetry devices that utilize GPS, utilize inertial sensors, and these sensors are used to collect data at a very granular level, sometimes at every second. So at every second you get a reading of what the vehicle is doing. A large amount of data is collected, and this data can then be used to determine things such as driver behavior. How is the person you're insuring driving the car that you're insuring? And that is very powerful for an insurer. Huge application. And like I said, extracting this data, it's not easy. it's a very unstructured data, so you need to use these advanced machine learning, AI technologies to really get the value out of it. So I'm going to go through some things where telematics is used, some products where it can be used, how it can be used in insurance pricing, and also how it can be used to change driver behavior and improve safety, not only of the people you're insuring and your policyholders, but also of society as a whole. So some telematics-enabled products. The first and the most obvious one is these technologies enable insurers to create pay-as-you-drive type of products. So this moves away from the traditional insurance model where you pay a premium up front, be it an annual premium or a monthly premium, and you're insured for the period. This enables you to create a usage-based insurance product where you can start charging your policyholders per kilometer, for example. So for somebody who uses their car very little, under the current insurance paradigm, they're really being overcharged. Whereas somebody who uses their car a lot, they are paying very little. So under this world, those policyholders, those people who drive very less, these sort of products will be very attractive to them because they will only pay for what they use. When they don't drive, they don't pay anything. The second product, and this is a big one, and I think this is the way in which most companies enter into this telematics space, and that is through rewards programs. So this is creating initiatives for your policyholders to drive better and rewarding them for good driving behaviors. This is the one way in which you can fix that undercharging, overcharging problem where your good risks are paying more to kind of cross-subsidize your bad risks. So if you see that some of your policyholders are driving very well, you can give them a reward, almost like a refund on their premium to correct for the initially incorrect pricing. The next big one is crash detection. Now, crash detection, this is really speaking to that safety element. As an insurer, you obviously want to provide more than just the cover to your policyholders. You want to provide some sort of safety elements as well, some value add on top of it, and crash detection is one way to achieve this. So crash detection, these telematics devices send out a signal when they detect an impact. The insurer can receive that impact and react to that incident. So they can send out help, be it an ambulance, a tow truck, and really be there for their policyholders until the end. And the final one, which is not really a standalone product on its own, but more of an improvement on top of an insurance offering, is the ability to fast-track claims. So telematics data can be used to reconstruct accidents. It can be used, very importantly, to detect fraud and pick up fraudulent claims, which allows insurers to fast-track the whole claims process. In my experience, the work I've done, we were able to really take down a process that took 2 weeks for somebody from the time they reported their claim until the time it was approved and paid out to just under 12 hours. So there's really a lot that can be done with this technology to optimize processes. The big one, and I think this is a very exciting one, is the improving of driver behavior. So from this telematics data, we can derive certain behavioral factors that tell us, what good and bad habits of driving are. And using these behavioral factors, we can then give detailed feedback to the drivers and tell them how they can improve on those certain behaviors. So it really allows the insurer through the feedback to change a bad driver into a good driver, and everybody wins there. Firstly, the driver is now in a safer position. Society as a whole is better off. The roads are safer, and the insurer is a lot happier because they're going to be more likely to pay less claims. So the three kind of aspects here are, firstly, reward programs. You can reward somebody for driving less. So stop people from taking unnecessary trips. This not only has a good, a safety element to it, but it also has a good environmental impact. Less cars on the road, much better for the environment. You can reward good driving. I spoke about that earlier. You can provide an incentive to somebody for driving well. And finally, this is the ultimate goal: creating safer roads for everybody. It sounds a little bit far-fetched, but I think if everybody starts doing it, if the whole insurance industry starts doing it, it will have a significant impact on road safety. And my final slide, and I know I've maybe gone through it a little bit quickly, is pricing. And this is another massive advantage. So right now, in insurance, insurers are not pricing the vehicle, they're pricing the person. So in order for the insurer to derive a premium, they look at the profile of the person. So they look at things like their age, their gender, although gender is not allowed to be used in the European Union, where they live, a whole bunch of other things, the characteristics of the vehicle, like the engine size, the color of the car. That's interestingly a very predictive factor as well. Red cars are more likely to be in an accident than any other color. When I talk about kind of the impact this will have on pricing, I always say that this allows you to price the asset that you're insuring and not the person anymore. So regardless if you're insuring a 40-year-old compared to an 18-year-old, you shouldn't be charging a different premium unless you see that 18-year-old is really driving much worse than the 40-year-old. And with this technology, you can definitely do it. So the first thing we can do in pricing is we can get better rating factors out of this data. So using the AI and machine learning and extracting the value out of that data, we can derive factors that are much better correlated to claims than anything else. One of the big rating factors in any pricing model is the age of the policyholder. And when you introduce these telematics rating factors, age becomes insignificant in the model. It no longer is a good predictor of risk, because all of these other factors take over and speak much more to risk than the more traditional ones. The next advantage, and this is purely for insurers, is that telematics data will allow you to beat the competition. So if you as an insurer are first to the market, you'll be able to better differentiate risk than all your competitors. So the thing that's going to happen is you will start attracting all the lower risks, because all the lower risks will get much cheaper insurance with you. So what's going to happen then is you'll also be pricing the bad risks a lot more accurately, so their premiums will go up, and they'll start going to your competitors, because they will get the cheaper premium there. The good risks will come to you because they're getting the cheaper premium with you. So then you win and your competitors lose out. So there's a big first mover advantage here. Whichever insurer does this at scale is really gonna win. And finally, and I guess this is now becoming ever more important topic, is this allows you to create non-discriminatory pricing. So you'll no longer be discriminating against age, against gender, against any sort of other, socioeconomic factor, because now, using this data, you will be pricing exactly for what the risk is for the asset that you're insuring and nothing else. And that's it for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Daniel. Great presentation, actually, and I really hope this is coming, because my car is red. So please, I really need the telematics to come, and I truly believe that it's going to change the driving behavior, which you just mentioned. So do you think that it's going to come anytime soon?
I don't. I think it eventually will. I think the big problem now with this being widespread in insurance is that insurers are scared to invest the money into it. It's a huge upfront investment, and they don't really know. They can't really work out what the return on that investment would be. So from my experience and in the South African market, insurers were taking baby steps into this into this area and kind of seeing, you know, what's going to happen, what are my competitors doing, where's this taking us. Nobody has really gone fully into it. And there's also an aspect of you know, how acceptable this will be by the market. I think at first a lot of insurance clients feel there's a privacy
breach.
breach. Yeah. What is the insurer doing with the data? Are they just going to use this data to repudiate my claim and nothing else? So there's a certain trust that needs to be built.
There are still challenges that to be addressed.
Definitely, yes.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Please, Le Grand, if I am right, yes. Great topic with smart buildings. I'm looking forward to hear from you about that. So you're welcome. Okay, so we can proceed with Mr. Svetozar Stojkov, who is our representative from Schneider Electric and who has this very interesting topic as a solution architect. He's going to talk about a software application which manages to gather a certain set of more applications in one, but I'll leave the floor to you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Today we will speak about smart city, and this is very interesting topic which is very important nowadays. I will start first with what are our challenges nowadays. So we all know the population is growth. We have a rapid development around us, and also we should reach our sustainable goals about the climate change to be carbon neutral. Also, before a few years, we have this COVID pandemic, which changed the game a lot. And now, most of companies and also the governments are looking for monitoring systems which can control remotely and make their workforce more digital. The market trends, we have a big capex and opex pressure around us. Also, we have a very big geopolitical complicated situation near us. What we need to do to accomplish our goals and take all the benefits from our technologies which are available on the market. We can use the cloud, the big data, the AI, also digital twin, and make our workers connected. What are the main challenges in the market when we're trying to accomplish such technology? So first we have, let's say, a city, big city like Sofia. In this city we have many different utility companies and many stakeholders. We have a power distribution company, we have water utility company, we may have some company which maintain the camera system, the traffic control, also some services companies, construction companies, a lot of different stakeholders in the field. We also have some major operations. We have city government which need to get all this data together and see on one picture what is happening with the whole city. What we can do? We can give this data context and make some actionable steps based on this information and make our assets more reliable, and nevertheless we should decrease our energy consumption. What is Schneider Electric solution for this? It's called Unified Operation Center. It's enterprise visualization system where we can import information from many different systems, like from wastewater treatment plant, from water treatment plant, from city traffic, from many different systems, and make it together in one unified operation center where very skillable employees can make very fast reaction with it. Our approach is, let's just call it system of systems approach. It can be either on cloud or in-premise. We can import there our public transportation information, our street lightings, for example, information from the camera, from water treatment system, also the air quality system, the construction information. And based on all this data together in, let's call it data lake, based on analyze, we can get most of our data and see if we have a construction on one place and air quality is bad over there. Maybe this is the reason why the air quality is bad on this area. What is very important for such a system? First, such a system should be hardware agnostic. We all know on different facilities, different buildings, we have equipment from many different vendors and many different software solutions. Some on the cloud, some on the premise, it doesn't matter. They communicate on different protocols. Some of them are communicating through cables, some of them are using the mobile network, some of them are using radio networks, and all of this can be connected to one system to be simplified. Our solution have a lot of different libraries of industrial protocol and many IT connectors. So based on this, we can make this system alive and put also some engineering software inside it, some data like PI diagrams and some documentations. We can put our asset information, and nevertheless, we can monitor and control all these facilities. We can make, we can take data from, for example, from some hospitals, 2 or 3 public hospitals, and analyze this data and see what is the energy consumption of this hospital and what we can improve if one hospital consumes twice more energy than the other. So something is not okay inside it. So we need to make some steps and to reduce the energy consumption. Let's call it 360-degree view, because with this technology, we can see everything in our city. Such a city, like a good example is a city like Seoul. They have some similar system like this, where the camera systems also detect if someone is going to do a crime, and based on artificial intelligence, they make some analysis, and based on it, the criminal level is very low over there. With this unified view, we can see the city parking, the traffic management. We can reprogram based on artificial intelligence in real time our traffic control. If somewhere in the roads are some accident, we can reprogram the traffic light to make the traffic jam not so big, and make the city more environment-friendly place. With Unified Operation Center from Smart City, we can make the services in the city better, and we can cover all the IT and OT technology. We can improve our transportation, make our signals and lighting better, and in one centralized system, we can be more reliable and empower our operators to act faster and be safer. This is some data which is based on real projects. So in such a center, we have very fast response time by the operators. Also, we can go up to 50% increase in the operational efficiency and also reduce the energy costs and reach our sustainable goals. What makes the difference between the traditional SCADA system and this system of system approach, which can import in it so many different systems from different vendors? So first of all, this is hardware agnostic system, so it doesn't matter what we have as a backbone. It can make everything work together simultaneously. It's universal solution because it doesn't matter in which step the smart city is at the moment, so we can start from point zero, or if the city government have already installed many different solutions, we can take all of them and implement it in the Unified Operations Center. And nevertheless, we give all the data a context. Operator, which is no very high qualified, can read the data and make some, based on analysis, which is give us a report on based on analysis, which is given by a report by the system, the operators can make faster decisions and safer decisions. So this system is for 3 to 4 years can be implemented in city like Sofia, very easy, because we have already have a lot of system like for digital transportation, for the metro, for air quality, for traffic control, for cameras. Everything can put together, also for the water treatment plants, and make a one unified center where we can see all the city, and all the major stakeholders can take the information which they need based on their roles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Svetozar. Actually, this you presented to us a software which could make a tremendous impact on our lives for the future and on our way to smart cities. And now, who's better placed to talk about our smarter city than our Minister of Innovation and Growth, which I am so proud to welcome on stage, Mrs. Milena Stojčeva. Please, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, and actually topically talking about AI. I have the feeling these days that I need to come up with an avatar, a clone, some kind of cloning process, or a digital twin, which is also topical, because these events and the activity that we're seeing around high tech and potential for Bulgaria are really exploding. So good to see you all. So the topic of AI and its impact on society is something that we believe would create both an opportunity, and of course we see it as a challenge in our country and the economy. The Ministry of Innovation and Growth has chosen as its policy and mission to transform Bulgaria and to rebrand the country, basing on the good assets that we have, and one of them is the high-tech sector and industry. I already see representatives of these sectors. I have visited Schneider Electric's plant operation and some of their innovation and a new facility that they are starting, as well as seeing some other investments. Yesterday I was in Varna, where we launched an innovation and experimentation site for CO2 capture and optimization at the Heidelberg materials factory. And this, plus many other examples that are currently rising, are showing to us that Bulgaria has the potential to claim to be an innovation hub. And this is where I see our role to collaborate and work with all of you to support the sectors with high value add, to support commercialization of research and scientific output that has been built in the country. You may know, but Bulgaria has invested in the creation of centers of competence and centers of excellence around universities and regions. And these centers now will be receiving additional funding, both from the competitiveness and innovation programs, as well as from our government and national budget, to support their expansion, and also to support the closer collaboration between the industry and the scientific and research community. I think Bulgaria has actually a few things, a number of things to be proud of, and we need to change the narrative. Up to now, we've been talking about being a good place with cheap labor and, in a way, outsourcing destination. Allow me to really claim that Bulgaria has the potential to be an innovation hub for the region, and building this capacity and this opportunity for all of us, both for the industry and for the education and research and scientific centers and sectors, is a great chance at the moment. So I count, we are starting a number of initiatives. Let me just mention. One of them is, you may know that Bulgarian government has invested in the creation of the Institute for AI Insight. They are partner of the Ministry of Innovation and Growth, and we invite you to consider ways on how to further intensify either collaboration with them and use and leverage the programs and funding mechanisms that the ministry has. 2 programs on competitiveness and innovation, and 1 on science and business collaboration that we are managing, and which 2 of them on starting and development of innovations and implementation of innovations will be launched this fall, by the end of the year. This, in addition to support for development of industrial parks and zones around the country, with the goal to reduce fragmentation, I think are good opportunities also for you as business partners to consider. The other thing that we are doing is we are expanding the financial mechanisms. There are a number of activities through the Fund of Funds and the European Investment Fund, which our government and this ministry in the current team actually reopened this summer. And these may provide good opportunities for either increase the innovation capacity of your organizations and companies, but also to intensify the collaboration with research institutions, and to bring innovation in the small and medium enterprises. Bulgaria has the potential, but didn't at the moment capitalize on that. And the innovation in small and medium enterprises hasn't been so great. So this is one opportunity, and using the fact that we have good, talented workforce. And Bulgaria is 3rd in the world in the expertise and ranking of its IT specialists. And it's good to know this and to recognize that this, plus the fact that we have a macroeconomic stability, we have a very good ratio between our debt and the GDP, and we have a good and managing our deficit under 3%, are giving us really the thinking, as well as the confidence that we can build on that. So to conclude, we will be also, I welcome that you are really having these discussions, and both chambers are collaborating. This is great. And we will be organizing a big event on AI and space technologies jointly with the European Commission and both the directorates of research and innovation, as well as the defense and space agencies. We do encourage the use of the new technologies for dual use, which means also for supporting emerging like space exploration, but also and defense, but also for applied concrete applications to change the lives of people and develop the economy. So looking forward to work together with you. I think both Dr. Vasilev and Ms. Veselova know that we are open to working together, and I believe that the work of the Ministry of Innovation and Growth should be to support a better business climate, better opportunities for innovation, which is really horizontal and transversal to all sectors. And the only way we can do this if we work together. Thank you for the opportunity, and apologies for I couldn't join in the beginning from another event, but wish you good work today, and I'll join from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Stoicheva. I will pick up on what you just said, that we should be changing the narrative from being a country of outsourcing to a country which is going to drive change thanks to the great professionals we have. And I'm very happy to hear that there are such plans. And I'm very happy to see the professionals we've gathered together today and who talk about the way we can drive the change. In this regard, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Anton Krantev, who's going to talk about video security surveillance, right? VSS team lead.
Yes. Thank you for the introduction. Let me just get the pointer.
Yes. You don't need the mic.
No. Hello, everybody. In next rather short 15 minutes, I'll try to elaborate onto two topics: smart video surveillance in smart cities and in smart factories, the Industry 5.0. I will try to visualize some of the solutions and talk you through them, so we can better understand what could help on the both verticals and change our well-being and economics also. But before that, let me just brief intro something about Konica Minolta. Okay, we don't have audio. This is a short introduction about the company that we are proudly to say and call us a startup, 150-year startup, because we are constantly innovating and exploring.
We are 150 years of determination, believing we can affect change, make an impact. We are 150 years of gratitude to every partner, dreaming, and doer. We are 150 years of purpose, making the future brighter for every community, every person, everywhere. We are 150 years, and this
is just the start. Konica Minolta is an international company, but we have also a great presence in Bulgaria. We have national coverage with a lot of offices and a lot of experienced engineers and people who can give additional benefit to all of the solutions. In brief, what do we have in Bulgaria? We have more than 2,200 customers, business customers, and we have implemented more than 200 solutions based on smart surveillance and more than 700 digital processes across the companies in the country. But let's talk about Industry 5.0 and solutions that are mainly for production. These are the 5 pillars for the Industry 5.0. But if I can say just one sentence, it's all about collaboration between robots and humans. This will be the future. This is also the presence of some of the companies that are already using those technologies. Let's start with the solutions themselves. Intelligent video solutions for the industry. Where you can find them. There is a lot of place in the smart factory where you can find those type of solution. From the entrance to the logistics, through the production, and also, why not in perimeter protection. Let me focus on some of them. Perimeter protection. It's rather boring if you can think about it, but not exactly. We can have something smarter than the ordinary video solutions. I'll show you a solution that we represent communication between several cameras. Firstly, we're going to draw a zone somewhere, and this zone will be guarded by one camera. We have another camera which is called PTZ, pan tilt zoom camera, which is actually very good camera, very powerful, but somebody has to control him. In this solution, when we have the intruder on the right, the camera communicates with the other camera, and the powerful PTZ camera zooms into the intruder and automatically tracks him. This is a solution that works absolutely without any human interference. Another example of perimeter protection is using thermal and thermoradiometrical cameras. This can give a lot of benefits to solar parks, for example, or other wide perimeters. Why? Because with one thermal camera we can cover up to 500, 600 meters of distance without any other device, and we can detect movement in almost any kind of weather. Next solution is a solution that probably everybody has seen somewhere in the parking or a shopping mall. It's called license plate recognition and access control for vehicles. What are the benefits from those solutions? It can quickly change the papers that on each checkpoint in the company are filled by some human, and where they go, they're not digitalized. You cannot search through the data. What we can do better than the rest of the companies is that we can add to the license plate recognition a make, model, or color recognition to the car. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, we are recognizing not only the license plate, but we're recognizing the brand of the car, the exact model, as you see right now, and the color of it. This way, we are gathering more data, and we can be more specific and more secure into giving access to different vehicles. Next solution that I'm going to show you, they're called Forksci. This is a Konica Minolta brand, which is aiming for the AI, as you can see for the from the name. First, I'm going to represent you Forksci Studio. What it does, Forksci Studio is software which is based on artificial intelligence, who can recognize and digitalize some of the processes of the industry. For example, visual quality inspection is one of those processes. The normal situation in most of the factories is that quality inspection is done by humans. This can create a lot of errors. It's difficult to maintain great quality just by humans. The next solution available on the market is the fixed machine vision solution. This is an improvement, but not the best. The best is the AI machine vision technology, based on the modern technology, adaptive algorithms and combination from both worlds, from the human and the machine, can create a result up to 100% accuracy. As I said, best from the both world. How it will happen, I will show you with this short video. In this short video, we can
it's no longer able to keep pace with the demands of expanding production. The demand for automated solutions in logistics, automotive, construction, food and pharma business continues to grow rapidly. Konica Minolta's video analytics software, Forksci, combines digital vision with machine learning abilities. In situations where human vision can't maintain the highest standards of production quality, Konica Minolta has deployed Foresight artificial intelligence software. Camera systems with integrated Foresight artificial intelligence capture even the smallest errors in production processes. The defect detection AI solution speeds up production and increases the reliability of final products. Monotony and repetitiveness pose a significant threat to employees' focus levels. In short, boredom impedes productivity. The continuous surface inspection AI solution saves your employees from these tedious tasks, speeds up production and reduces material waste. Complicated design processes are a nightmare for quality control. It's almost impossible for the human brain to analyze every aspect with an unwavering level of attention. The Assembly Quality Inspection AI solution will ensure the smooth and high-quality production of even the most complex products. This essentially eliminates the need to rework or cycle faulty products. Counting may seem like a basic skill for many of us, but counting thousands of parts several times without a single mistake is a challenge that only the AI solution, Object Detection and Counting, can easily handle. Foresight can identify even the smallest differences between the products and calculate the precise quantity of each type. For more information, visit our website or contact your local Konica Minolta sales outlet.
As you saw, there's a lot of practical use of AI into smart factories. But let me show you what stands behind those animated video. Here you can see several of our solutions. From the top left on the screen, as you see, there's a washing machine manufacturer, and then we can do assemble quality inspection. Based on the AI, we can search for particular screws, for example. If some screw is missing, we can raise an alarm and stop the production line. On the right, you can see a defect detection of brick manufacturer, so we can improve the quality or separate first and second quality. On the bottom, you can see another defect detection, presence of foreign objects, contamination, and here you can see defect detection, which we are trying to get the info from jars, from top of the jars, if there is a presence of a lot number. As you can see, there's a very high speed of walking through the jars, and we're expecting if each of the jars have a lot number. In the next solution is a surface quality inspection, and we can detect if there's a holes on the surface of this product and how big are they. So we can also manage this quality. The next solution is a monitoring of critical infrastructure. We can do that simply by using thermoradiometrical cameras, because even the smallest components not visible by the human eye can be detected by a thermoradiometrical camera. How we can do that? Here is another example. We have hot surfaces with aluminium production, and we are detecting constantly the temperature of the ovens and how this can interact the quality of the final product. If the temperature raises or lowers than the exact needed temperature, we can raise an alarm, or we can just gather big data and give the management to analyze afterwards. Another example of production is automotive production. This is a company that produces seat for automotive industry. Again, based on the thermal camera and the artificial intelligence, we can analyze if the welds of the seats are well done. Not on the last place is the personal protective equipment detection. There is a solution called Foresight Mirror. It looks like a huge tablet or iPhone 55, but basically it can detect either the person is wearing the necessary protective equipment like gloves, helmets, vests, and so on. And this solution can even detect if the gloves are broken somehow, and can detect really tiny issues. And if something is wrong, it won't give access to the person to the specific area. Next solution is called Foresight. From the name, you can understand that we are talking about collaborative robots. These are robots that can work together with human, and they are used in smart factories where there's constant need of change of the production line. So these are not the particular robots that you can put somewhere and work years. These are robots that you can easily switch every day to a different area into the production line. On the left, you can see in our demo center how this robot is interacting. It can grab, pick some items, then put it in some place. We have also a light box on the right of the robot, and the robot will put the bin inside the light box, and inside the light box there's a Foresight Studio AI, which will detect if there's an issue or some misplace of the production of the item, and is it a good quality. You can see on the monitor on the right from the video that the camera is detecting everything. If the can is okay, it will be moved to the left side where the smiley robot is, and if it's not okay, it will be moved on the right side. Let's give you a short introduction into some of the solutions that are used for smart cities. Where we can put smart video surveillance into city? Everywhere. They're all around us. There are cameras everywhere. They can be used for detecting a lot of things. But the most important about those solutions is what stands behind the camera. What algorithms are we using that can gather data, summarize it, and send it for analyze. We can gather data from the traffic. We can again gather more specific data about the traffic. We can gather data from the human traffic, and of course we can make the cities more secure. Solutions based on AI like this one is called gun detection, can raise alarm if somebody is bringing a firearm into closed or open spaces. And this is an instant solution that can bring attention to authorities. The other solution that we have similar to that is fight detection solution, where we can detect if we have misbehavior of people and a proper possibility of violence. And let's just don't take any more time of the stage. A few seconds of commercial. Why you should trust those type of solution? Because of the expert consultancy that we can bring to the Bulgarian market. This is major thing, and you can find a trusted partner in the face of Konica Minolta. All of those solutions are based on cameras who are made in Europe, made in Germany, with a lot of certification and compliances from cybersecure side. And here you can see some of the logos of the companies that already trusted our solutions in Bulgaria. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anton. Thank you very much. This was a great example of how AI, which we tend to fear those days a lot, will contribute to actually improve quality production, as you said, in many ways, which would improve security in our cities, thanks to the different video surveillance solutions. So this is an example of why we shouldn't fear AI for now, but rather trust it. And now I want to give the floor to Mr. Georgi Gyurov, who is going to address an interesting topic, the topic of 3D printing, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of 3D printing as well, I would say. I would expand a bit the topic, to be honest, to fit probably a bit better the topic of today. In terms of thinking about smart manufacturing in general, I think that all of you probably here come from different backgrounds, different companies, sales, probably some engineering, smaller, bigger, etc. So my idea is to, because Habitat is a small company, a young company that is still trying to grow, so to say, and we operate in the field of SMEs. And a bit of a difference to my colleagues over here that represent really big and established companies. We see very often how the mindset for manufacturing in a smart way is still lacking here and there. I think also the minister spoke about that, and because we hear some of us, and of course the French and the German people and companies, they rely heavily on their SME sector, and I think that thinking in a smart way about how to manufacture better in the different ways is an important topic that probably is on a lower level than the best high-tech solutions, but is something that needs to be developed. So first, a short introduction of what Habitat does and why I believe we are a right partner to talk about smart technology. So our mission is really bringing the Industry 4.0 and the innovations with it to the industrial sector in Bulgaria and the region. Here my colleague was speaking about Industry 4.5.0. We are, let's say, one level behind. I don't know how to the definitions go really these days, but I will speak about that in a bit more. We're trying to provide sustainable engineering as a service and then manufacturing in-house to our clients, and then enable a supply chain flexibility with these smart technologies that I'm going to present a bit later. We're trying to have a know-how based approach. That is to say, we try to look out for the information that we don't have, relying on partners, and then of course relying on the information that we already have. And then the additive manufacturing, the 3D printing, so to say, is also our internal manufacturing core. We're trying to work with exactly those companies that will drive the smart manufacturing forward, that are industrial R&D based companies and manufacturing companies that have their own maintenance and deal with the issues that I will be presenting in a bit. So we have worked with big and small companies as well. Of course, it is important to see what a company like us is able to do in different sectors. So mechanical engineering, additive manufacturing is something that can be applied in many different sectors, from medical, aerospace, consumer appliances, etc. So, as I said, we try to hop on different projects, either on an hourly basis or on a project-based commitment. We enter either in the concept phase or in the mechanical engineering phase or in the analysis. Then we can work on the prototyping, and then after a couple of iterations, we can go to mass production. So this is an overview of where we can come up and help companies integrate some of the solutions that I will be also presenting. As I said, the manufacturing services are something a part of our know-how. So we have the internal additive manufacturing capacities, or 3D printing, as the more popular word goes. We have, as I said, partnerships across Europe that we rely on to fulfill the wishes of our customers when we don't have the needed capacities, and of course post-processing and providing the end component to the customer himself. And another thing, the consultancy basis, that is exactly what I am trying to, let's say, push a bit today. That is to say, a mindset, a know-how based information, going into the details with the companies, with their R&D teams, in order to see how such kind of technologies can be better implemented in those companies. Because, as I said, companies work, and R&D engineers, they work in their own fields, and sometimes they forget that there are new things constantly happening, and we are basically there to remind them of those opportunities and to push them forward to find better solutions for them. So also being a Bulgarian company, I was thinking, and I'm often thinking, how and where should I drive my inspiration to go forward and to push forward. I think that also the minister spoke about that. So I've taken out a list of the top 15 R&D spenders as countries per capita. They're ordered by capita. And I asked myself two questions. Do I like the products that some of those companies in those countries manufacture, and do I find my main competitors in those countries? And in my case, in our field, my answer is most definitely yes. And because of that, we try to push forward the industry from the Bulgarian sector to try to be better, to try to invest more, the same way as I hope the government will do more and more, so that we can probably someday come into that list as well. So speaking about industries, first, second, third, fourth, I will ask my colleague afterwards to talk about the fifth in a private conversation probably. But as everybody else said, a data-driven, connected, resource-efficient, flexible, and resilient industry is what the best companies are building, and what we are trying to provide as an additional know-how as well. So what are the benefits of being smart and to thinking smart about your research and development, your engineering? In the end of the day, you're trying to provide a better product for the customer. You're trying to be, of course, cost effective. You're trying to be with higher productivity, to manage your risk, and to be with less CO2 footprint if possible. So these are, of course, business considerations, but if we want the industry to grow, we need those considerations to be had in mind. So a couple of topics that I will concentrate, giving more concrete, so to say, examples. I will not have the time to go into big detail into any of these, but as I said, conveying a certain mindset is what my presentation is about. So starting off with the design and engineering, continuing with the production technology, continuing with the smart maintenance of what you have as a plant and as a product line, and then your smart data protection are some of the topics that I will take a look in. So, as I said, giving certain ideas about what more can be done in the field of smart manufacturing, starting with the design and engineering. From our experience, simulations are a service that is used relatively seldom in companies, but can improve their performance. Of course, there are the financial limitations of using such softwares, but if someone wants, probably could negotiate an hourly basis usage of someone else's software. So you can simulate for strength, you can simulate for fluid flow, for air flow, so that basically you make the iterations and to make your product better. Topology optimization is how can I say, an engineering technology and way to observe your components that is growing in the last years. That is to say, looking at big chunky classically made components and trying to and using softwares to make them lighter, more resilient, more easily flexible, and to have actually a better performance once the component is integrated. And then the prototyping, here an example of using 3D printing is basically the idea that once you have the design ready, after you have simulated it, you have made some topology optimization, you can print it out right away in your bureau, let's say, then make a redesign, then print it out, then make a redesign, and basically within 1 week or 2 weeks, depending on the component, you can have a verified design. Speaking about production technologies, I have given out a couple of examples. Some of them are better known, other probably some of us will hear of you here for the first time. So I have the industrial 3D printing. This one on the left bottom corner is an industrial 3D printer that is probably a bigger machine that most of us or of you guys have probably seen. that is either a polymer, and in this case a metal printing machine. So the possibilities of the industrial 3D printing are the mass customization, probably. That is to say, having 100 components printed in one go, every component specified in a different way according to the customer or to the different design. Using 3D printing, you can have a local supply. That is to say, if a company in Germany wants to provide the components within Bulgaria, they can be printed out in Bulgaria right away. And then you have the material and the design freedom, basically to create any shape and form that you wish. The industrial robotics, I wouldn't need to introduce too much. What I found with time is that there are gathering information more and more using sensors within those robots, so that they can basically adapt and learn how to perform their duties better. And also an important topic, how to take care of the people on the shop floor better, because these machines are very heavy, very fast, and they can sometimes cause injuries. Another interesting topic in the field of manufacturing of different components is the hybrid manufacturing. So there's the tendency of manufacturers to combine classical technologies in one. So you basically, with different tools, you start manufacturing. For example, you print out, here is an example, you print out the component with one tool, with the laser and the powder. I think, yeah, this is a metal example. And then within the same machine, you use another tool to carve out basically and finish out this component, as I said, on one go. So again, in this case, a very big design, a very big material freedom, and also the possibility to mass customize the components. The topic of smart maintenance is a very interesting one, I think, for the representatives of bigger companies. That is to say that when you have when you're an old company having many products back in the days, it is really challenging and hard to keep the components in your inventory and to react fast to customer demands. So something that is a big trend is the digital warehouse concept, where you take your old and legacy components, you try to 3D scan them, you redraw them and put them in a digital dossier. This is a way to manufacture components on demand and not really have a million or $1 billion or euro stock of supplies. And then the predictive maintenance component, this is probably more applicable for bigger companies relying on different sensors, either cameras or close cameras next to the machines. You basically monitor the machinery so that you don't need to make a regular maintenance, but really make the maintenance when it is needed. So the shop floor is occupied with sensors. The data center takes those the information from those centers and then gives basically advice to the operators of the shop floor. And then a very interesting topic as well, something that is I would say yet to be developed more and more in the field of smart manufacturing, is the smart data exchange. The blockchain technology, this very I would say trendy term for a couple of years now. If someone does not know what the idea of blockchain is, basically to store information on a, let's say on a chip, let's say, and then this information on that chip is digitally transferred to each and every user afterwards, and then you can basically trace that chip and that information from each and one of the people that had it. So if my colleague here had one left, I know that he had it, and then my colleague will know that I had it before that, and then my colleague will know that all of us had that. So the idea here is basically that with the supply chain visibility, big manufacturing companies that have thousands of vendors, they can be sure that one specific vendor has manufactured that component, verified that, and not being tricked by that vendor that bought probably the component from somewhere else. So this ensures a higher quality. This ensures higher traceability. When a problem appears, then you go to the component, you can check that component and know, aha, okay, this component came from Stara Zagora, for example. We will talk to that guys and know what the issue is, because we know that they have manufactured that. As I said, the car industry is a very good example here. And then another interesting topic are the smart contracts. That is to say, for example, when someone wants to subcontract a given component to a metal or plastic manufacturing company, they give their part of their intellectual property to that company, and this is a way to protect that document while giving the exact number of, let's say, manufacturing units that the subcontractor needs to do, and this is protected by such smart contracts. So I'm coming to the end of the presentation. Two very important reminders when talking about this interesting topic. Seeing from the SME's point of view, it's hard to be smart sometimes because there are the scale of operations needed to integrate some of those technologies. As I said, the financial resources needed, also an important topic. The educated workforce is something that we are trying to contribute with our services, and then of course the smart environment, because you cannot be smart, completely smart, if your supplier or your client is not using similar technologies, let's say. A bad example of being too smart, I can share a short story, is a very good friend of mine bought a very expensive Porsche electric vehicle, and then the guys from Porsche Bulgaria called him and said, you need to come for your service of the car. Then he goes, he leaves the car, he takes it in 2 days, and then he goes in the car and there is no AC running, there is no navigation running, there is only the car start and stop. And he calls the guys and said, yeah, it will take some time, it will be okay. So he drives his very expensive car for 2 days and then calls and say, hey guys, nothing is really working right now with that car. He goes again to the service, and it comes out that the person that is usually maintaining combustion engines vehicles has not used the right software update flash card for that vehicle, and he basically gave him and put him in the basic how can I say, the basic software settings of the car, and he was not able to use his car for a whole 2 days. So being smart can have its limitations, so it's important to have it in mind. And my last slide is also how can I say, an invitation for you guys to think that after all, still humans come before the machine, and humans still keep the complex know-how. So if we really want to create a smart industry, we need to start with the innovation-driven leaders. So your colleagues, the people you hire in your companies, depending on the case, need to be open to all that information and to have that mindset. Afterwards, you need to hire the educated and the patient people so that these innovations can come to terms, because it really takes a lot of time, and then if needed you can use the competent consultants as an external supplier as well. So thank you for your time and your attention. These are our contacts. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Georgi. Thank you for this deep dive into smart manufacturing. It was actually very useful, and your insights on people and on how we should, on hiring and training them, was very appreciated as well. Now, let's see if we are going to be able to charge our e-cars freely in our buildings in Sofia. It comes as a challenge, actually. So I would like to invite Ludmil Deskov, director at Le Grand, who will give us some insights on that. The floor is yours.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Good start. Let's repeat. Unfortunately, Mrs. is not here. I have some information from the government as well. So before to discuss about the electrical vehicles and new style of mobility, I would like to share a little bit more information about the smart cities, our vision about this. So Le Grand is a global specialist in the electrical and digital buildings infrastructures. That's why I spoke a little bit more about the buildings and a little more about the environment and what is important for us, for our life and our quality of life. We are living in the period in environmental breakdown. You know that we're using a lot of resources of the earth, and we would like to use this earth not only for us, also for our kids and grandkids as well. So we need to pay attention on this, and especially what is the buildings impact over there. Worldwide, buildings are responsible for close to 40% of energy using and for the process-related CO2 emissions, 50% of the extracted materials from the earth, 33% of the water consumptions, and 35% of the generated waste. That's why it's very important we to focus on the buildings once we discuss for the smart cities. But what means smart? To be sustainable. Before going to say only smart, and first we need to think for the environment and for sustainability as well. Pay attention that in 2050 the population will increase with almost 27% and close to 10 billion of people live on this earth. If you not move to Mars on the moon, quite tiny space for us. By 2016, global building floor area is expected to double. So this is very important things that we need to pay attention on this. What about the energy efficiency? So in the last years, increased the investment in the energy efficiency. It's increased by 11% investment in energy efficiency in the buildings, and mainly dominated by EU countries. So we need to pay attention on some specific numbers. Then after to focus more also on the buildings. So 34% of the global energy consumed directly from the buildings. 37 of global energy related CO2 emissions are consumed in the buildings. 75% of the infrastructure that you need in the 2050 still not built. That means these percentages of 34 and for the energy 37 of CO2 emissions could rise more than 50%. So you need to pay attention how be efficient, energy efficient the buildings that we're using. Also 50% of the materials that digging from the ground is on the buildings. In the next years, so we can expect additional 230 billion square meters buildings that will build in the next less than 20 years. It's a very short period, you need to pay attention on this. And the buildings that will live together, that we're using together, 90% of those buildings, they are not optimized, they can harm us or not good for our quality of life. 7% of the people that live on this earth, they are in the building industry, also is important for them. And also for the government, it's important to pay attention about the incentives, about the regulation, about the environment, because 82% of the population on the world, they're living in the cities and the countries that no specific regulations to keep environment in the good shape as well. So right now, total building construction business is not on the track to achieve decarbonization in the 2050. So the building construction consume and building as a building consume more energy and waste and more CO2 emissions, and we're not able to reach the official targets in the 2015 to be carbon zero neutral. If you take a look about energy and the CO2 emissions, 37% exactly come from the buildings, and very big part also is the residential buildings. I think is the data also was surprised when I preparing the presentation about this. 34% of the energy waste is in the buildings, and if you take a look for residential, it's 21% of all the energy going to the residential sector. That we think about how was the consumption. Even industry spend less than the residential. In the transport is more than 20%, 26% of the energy is going to the transportation. So Legrand thinking, focusing and for the solutions that are going to optimize the energy consumption, the CO2 emissions in the residential, and also in the future in the transport that is going to be also in the electrical transport. So Legrand is global specialist in electrical digital building infrastructure. That's why we're working on the solutions that are in the building infrastructure. So we're working for decarbonization, but we step forward on this. Further on this, we would like to bring the easy for use and the solutions that improving life quality as well. Worldwide leader with the different brands. We have different smart solutions. I explain a little bit more about our smart solutions and their effect over the environment. Why we designed the smart connected buildings? First of all, to have a better quality of life, to be easy to comfort for the security, and nevertheless for the environment, because it's energy efficient solutions as well. Both for the capex, both for the opex. We need for the whole time of our life, or time of the life of the building, is the capex plus opex. So if you invest on more in the capex to install the smart solutions, then after opex will be operative expense will be lower, and of course we have a smaller environmental impact over the world. Legrand transform spaces where we work and meet with easy to install solutions and allow to decrease your energy bill while we controlling and optimizing your electrical and digital infrastructure in commercial, residential buildings, and many places. One short video with sound maybe. Legrand improving lives. So it's easy to make your electrical installation more efficient, even for your home or your business building, or in your production for small medium enterprises, also for the big enterprises as well. It's very easy. We have a lot of solution on this. I'm not going to stop exactly for the technical solutions as well. So easy, we can make a 15% average energy saving just once we install the solutions for the metering to check where is the energy waste and to optimize the processes over there. And we could make a 7% reduction of energy with only one Celsius grados decrease of the temperature. So we have a smart thermostat. Why it's smart? Because we can control by smartphone. We can make a schedule when we wake up or when going out. Everything to be automatically. And why it's smart? Because it's artificial intelligence inside. It's a connected thermostat that checking what is the outside temperature, checking what's the weather forecast. If you would like, once you wake up in the morning, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you would like to have a 22 degrees at your house. Okay, outside is 20 degrees, so no need to start up the heating so earlier, just 15 minutes ahead. Quarter to 6, for example. If it's chill winter outside, it's minus 20 degree. Also, you need your house need more time to heat up under this 22 degrees. We'll start the heating in the 5 o'clock in the morning as well. So also the thermostat themselves, it's artificial intelligence, self-learning, and the first week of working a thermostat self-learning about your house, what's time taking to heat or to cool the house, and then after start to be more smarter and smarter. Actually, once I also was skeptic, I installed some of our smart solutions for the public heating and reduced my bill to the public heating at half, not 30%, at half, at the same comfort, even better of this. And some solutions that we're working for the hospitality, because once we would like to have a comfort at our home with the smart solutions. Also, once we travel or in the leisure and the vacation, also for the hotels, we have a specific smart solution for the hotels that brings upscale comfort for hospitality, and at the same time saving the energy for the hotel owner as well, and giving extra additional customer experience for the guests. Short video. Connected to room controller and thermostat for the hotels. And something also related to the cities is the transportation. Already seeing in the official data that 26% of the energy using was in the transportation. So the future in the transportation is the zero carbon emissions vehicles, low emission vehicles, either be hydrogen. This technology is not well develop. The technology as currently is the main rise and growth is the electrical vehicles. So what's our commitment over there? So for the electrical vehicles, we need to provide the charging infrastructure. Till now, your petrol car, you fill it with the petrol in the gas stations. Now with the electrical car, we're charging our cars at our home, at your work, and places where we spend our time, in the shopping center, for example, in the parking, once we're also in the hotel, etc. So what doing Legrand is not only producing the charging stations, we provide the smart solutions with the software that can manage the charging stations, that can manage corporate fleets as well. And one of the investment that making here from Bulgaria that will be used for the worldwide, we ask for the Bulgarian software company to develop and set up for us specific software to able to manage the charging stations, to be easy for the billing of the charging, for the monitoring of the charging stations, and also for the corporate fleets management as well. So as private company, Legrand is a public company in the Paris Stock Exchange. This is private, it's not government company. Also we're working with the NGOs in Bulgaria and to speed up the electrification of the transport in Bulgaria, especially for the charging infrastructure. We participated with different NGOs and working on this, and together with the other private business in Bulgaria, developing solutions to have a complete solution for the smart cities in terms to able to have access for the public charging infrastructure as well. And the moment investment on the public charging infrastructures are only private investment, zero incentives from government. Unfortunately, it's not here the minister to ask for such investments. I'd like chamber to forward this question to the government, to the minister, what they think about the electrification of the transports. What about the charging infrastructure as well? So also by European regulation, we must have every 60 kilometer of the highway and European roads, we must have charging infrastructure, fast chargers. Nobody moving in the fingers at the moment from the government side, only private investments. So from our side, we're going to make the life of the private investor easier as much as possible as well. Also, we're participating in the different NGOs. I mentioned the Industrial Cluster Electromobility, also in the Bulgarian Association of the Electronics and the Electrotechnical Engineering, and pushing on those direction. And a lot of things we're doing over there to be more popular this. So think for electrification, and as parts of the smart city as e-mobility as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ludmila. Great insights from all of you. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today and for actually showing us that the future AI holds for us is quite positive. Now, I would like to invite our attendees to ask questions, because I suppose questions emerged in your heads while listening to our panelists. So please.
Good morning. I had a question for Mr. Iliev, but he obviously left. So I don't know. He left, right?
Yes, he has left, unfortunately.
Okay, I mean, I had a question on the insurance telematic. My name is Hristo Daskalov. I'm CEO of Fleet Services Group, which is operating in the field of fleet and asset tracking telematic. Something like probably in terms of vehicles under management, we are probably #1 in the Balkans. And the point was, the question was rather, what Mr. Iliev or his colleague thought of being the ultimate trigger for the insurance company to move towards insurance telematic? Because from what we experience, in various countries where we operate. Actually, it's a matter of the insurance companies going towards, it's a matter of a business model for the insurance companies, and not really about the solution in place or the customers. Actually, we have some projects with insurance companies, Bulgaria and Turkey, and ultimately when we speak to various insurance companies, the point is about the business model. So obviously, like many other things in the, let's put it in the smart stuff, not only the IoT, but also other smart solution or advanced technologies, it's a matter of business case for all the parties involved. So my question was rather what would be the business case for the insurance companies, because obviously for the time being this is not in place. Thank you.
I have a micro here. It's switched on, so yeah. If you would like to answer, yeah, please.
So, yeah, I'm from a slightly different department. I'm from the AI department, so I might not be able to answer your question. But what I can do later on, I'll just give you his contact details, and you can just take that conversation for later on, if that's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Hi, Peter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, my name is Peter Geuse. I'm from Commerzbank. First of all, I enjoyed a lot to be here. It is a very interesting discussion, but I have one question. We have talked a lot about the benefits of gathering data, processing data, etc. But how about the risks? So the question goes to the whole panel, actually. What is your view on the risk, especially when it comes to smart cities? Do we not reach a higher level of surveillance when we have all that monitoring cameras and everything around? I would be interested to hear your view. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Gentlemen? Who would like to start?
Regarding the data security, we already use a lot of different cloud solutions. Like maybe all of you are using Microsoft 365. So we use smartphones and everything. All of the major players on the market are using Microsoft solutions or Amazon solutions or some smaller vendors. So this data is very secured over there. And I don't think we need to be suspicious what will be happen with this data. Also about the video surveillance, my colleague may accomplish me, but most of the systems are made offline and the data is not put on some cloud, but it's stored on premise. So the connection to this data is very restricted.
A little bit more about the smart city topic and using video surveillance system for convenience or for gathering data such as face recognition. It's very popular these days, but what kind of data it collects? Does it share to some external parties or not? This is a topic that can be discussed on different way, because on some solutions that are prepared and installed to, let's say, for business needs of particular customer, let's say for a smart factory, there those data are stored, the workers are agreed to for the employee to gather the data. But when we talk about smart cities, those types of data can be configured not to be stored. They're just metadata. So behind, for example, the metadata of some face, behind that there is no personal data. You cannot combine this with the name of particular person. And when you configure it that way, then on the behind we have a row. There's a suspect, or not suspect, but person 0, let's call it. And this person 0, it's a male, 38, and it's happy. So that's enough for the data that is collected. Nothing else is stored on the hardware, neither cloud or on premises.
So basically no concerns from data protection compliance point of view.
Yes, all of the software providers we work with, and I have personally in contact with, they all have GDPR compliance officer and procedures that can be introduced to each customer, and they're protecting also our privacy, because nobody wants to see and live the futuristic vision of Skynet. This is the company in Terminator that was launching the Judgment Day. So behind all of these solutions, there are people who are taking the big decisions.
Thank you very much.
Good question, actually. So, as European company, we need to answer on all the GDPR regulations as well. About the cybersecurity is part of this GDPR regulation as well. So European companies that were working in Europe, as Legrand, Schneider as well, were listed in the French stock exchange, also German companies as well. So we are strictly under the European regulations. And if any data stored in the clouds, those clouds, they are under European regulation as well, in the Europe or under this regulation as well. It's another question mark. A lot of Chinese low-cost Chinese companies. Actually, once something is low-cost, you should to be suspicious. Maybe you are the item of this low-cost solutions, even for the smart cities from the made in China companies. So they store the data in the Chinese servers, and nobody's sure how is using those data. According to GDPR, I'm quite surprised why it was allowed by European regulation. Nobody takes a look, for example, for the CCTV systems, also for IP door entry systems from the Chinese company. That's one of two big companies actually in Bulgaria. One of these is 100% state-owned by Chinese government. Another one is, and the half is a part of the Chinese government. That means all the time that we're passing through the shopping center or press the button of the Chinese door entry system, our face is scanned and stored somewhere in China. If somebody would like to track you in China, it's much easier for this. No GDPR protection. Once you use the European producer of the DOS equipment, for sure, no way to happen this. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much for the answers. And as the time goes ahead, so you might all need a coffee before the next panel. Sure, please.
It's probably a general remark than a question, because I'm going to step on the question that the previous gentleman asked. My name is Plamen Mandjev. I'm managing director of company of cybersecurity. And all of those are marvelous technologies, and probably it's the right way to pay the technology debt to the society. But frankly, when I was looking at the presentation, I think of Mr. Strilkov, there was one line saying convergence of IT and OT. And from where I'm coming, I know that that's kind of a recipe for disaster, unless we care about this, right? So with my whole respect, I mean, whether you have a GDPR officer or DPO or whatever, it won't stop the data from flowing somewhere. It's kind of a general remark that we can continue over the coffee pause, but there is certainly a layer of underlying security on a level that currently is not there, which should be put into place before all of those things are really happening. I personally wouldn't be putting a single sensor in a city unless I know where the things are flowing. So I hope that this is part of your general plans. I know for Schneider, because I know the company, that you're taking the industrial cybersecurity pretty seriously, but it should be part of the general strategy in this direction. And we should not be living in a world where, you know, people are good. They're not. In general, there are good people and there are bad people. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's proceed with coffee. And last, thank you to you, gentlemen. Great presentations, great morning with you. So it was really a pleasure, and I'm sure the attendees can confirm. And now let's grab a coffee.
I'm very happy to once again be in front of you and to present this most interesting panel on AI. For me, artificial intelligence is really the future, and of course, as we say in France, we have to pick it with small fingers and to gently and with a lot of caution prioritize what are the human aspects, the society aspects, but for me it's already here and we just have to manage society aspects and of course business. I personally think that first the AI will enter the business without noticing it. We already use it in our homes, I guess, but it's very interesting to hear professional opinion on specific projects, specific targets that are already addressed by AI. And I have the great pleasure to introduce first Mrs. Milena Georgieva, a chapter lead from DTC Commerzbank Sofia branch, who will present us AI in a bank. Why not? Because I really personally I knew banks working with Excel tables and even paper data. So now it's the next generation. So please, floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting us today. Just to share some details about the Commerzbank. It was founded in Hamburg in 1870. Please remember the data. You will understand at the end why I have the data for you. We have more than 30 million customers in Germany only, and then we have 5 million customers in Central and Eastern Europe. Currently, there are 42,000 employees working for Commerzbank. And talking about artificial intelligence and thinking about it, probably the first topic that we'll have to cover will be why artificial intelligence, how it started, and how it connects to the world of banks. So probably you've heard artificial intelligence started in the 1950s last century, so quite an old topic, but at that time it was mainly academic topic. So in 1956 the term artificial intelligence was mentioned for the first time during an academic conference in Dortmund. So it was not something that the customers, the normal ordinary people were discussing. It was more a research area. In 1975, there was the so-called AI winter, which means it was not developed, and it's understandable since the topic needs quite a lot of data. The hardware at that time was not developed that much, and also it was very, very expensive. In the 1980s, we have a breakthrough. The hardware started to get cheaper and more stronger, of course, because this huge amount of data needs computational power. And probably you've mentioned that since year 2000, we started talking about AI. And we discussed this just a little bit earlier, that at this point we are still talking a lot about the AI, but it's like the teenagers. So we talk a lot about them, but nobody's actually doing something on this. Well, that's not the truth. I'm sure that everybody already used ChatGPT, and you know it's not, well, the basic understanding is not AI. Actually, it is part of AI. It is one small fraction of the term AI. And talking about artificial intelligence, basically everybody has an opinion what artificial intelligence is. And if you check the definitions in internet, for example, we will find probably 50 different definitions what artificial intelligence is. And then talking about artificial intelligence, probably the best known definition is we're trying to implement the human intelligence into a computer. Well, that's the very basic definition that we use. And talking about human intelligence implemented into computers, then we have the banks, and now it's a complete mess, right? Well, not exactly. One of the things that Commerzbank is doing currently, we have a center which is a research and development center. Basically, they started working in the area of data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. The three are connected. very closely. We need the data in order to train the machine learning algorithms, which will be used, so the results will be used by artificial intelligence in many different ways in the banking sector. We'll discuss some of the topics. Talking about the evolution, I just mentioned in the year 2000 we started talking more and more often about artificial intelligence, and you know, the banks are quite old-fashioned. We do not transform that much. Well, that's not absolutely true. There are quite a lot of banks currently which are actually having their development centers, and they're trying to implement different parts of the artificial intelligence into their business. Why? Because of the concurrency. You have plenty of fintech companies, big tech companies, they're trying to grab piece of the banking sector and to develop their own business, which is understandable. And at this point, based on the what, 8 of 10 banks are aware of the benefits of artificial intelligence, and they're actually working towards implementing artificial intelligence into their systems. Talking about systems, it's not just the website, because when we talk about banks, the first thing that we think about is the website and the application that we use on our mobile phones. Well, in the back office, if I can say so, there are quite a lot of tasks that can be accomplished by an artificial intelligence. Well, the very first thing about banks is, of course, fraud detection. Everybody knows what fraud detection is. Just a small example. Imagine that you are sitting at home, and at one point you realize, or you mention, or you've been informed that somebody bought something with your credit card in the United States. Perfect. But you're not the receiver. So it will be not that great fun if it's, for example, a TV unit for $4,000, right? And all that comes from your bank account. Well, how about not taking care of that information on your own? I'm not sure if you have your programmed your applications, but you can do it in some banks. Basically, after every single transaction, you get information on your mobile phone or an email. Well, me personally, I love doing shopping. So every day there are quite a lot of transactions, and every single transaction comes to my email with information about my transaction. So observing all that data, probably for a single user, it's quite easy, right? It's not that much of a burden. Depends on the shopping habits, of course. But imagine that you're a big corporation and you have probably every day thousands of transactions. It will be quite hard for your accounting department to follow every single transaction to make sure that there is no fraud, there is no money laundering. For the banks, money laundering is a huge topic. Well, that can be observed by an artificial intelligence. And every single transaction can be analyzed based on your behavior. And if there is something suspicious, fraud detection, a flag will be raised. So you don't need somebody checking all your transactions every single day, every single minute. Or me as a person, as a customer, I don't have to check all my emails all the time because they come in quite a lot. So that's one of the things that we can use artificial intelligence. Of course, quite a lot of banks at this point, they're using it already. It is implemented into the systems. And yeah, probably the next case, thank you. AI and personalization. I mentioned the websites, and probably you know that's one of the things that are very important for every single bank, and not only the banks, is how to personalize your experience as a user. If you visit the website, we want to know how long you're staying there, what information you're looking for, which website, which part of the website you just checked. Are you interested in, for example, investments, or you're probably more interested in savings? Well, if we gather all that information, we can predict what will be needed by you. For example, probably you would like to invest in Commerzbank in Germany, buy some stocks, for example, or eventually you can ask for a credit. Probably you get all the time a lot of emails from a bank with different offers. Here is a credit card, or here is a debit card for your child, or you can take this credit with 3.0 interest. And most of them are just spam. You know, you just take a look at it and no, that's not interesting. No, that's not interesting. Well, imagine that you get a credit card offer specifically for your needs. What I mean, you travel a lot, for example, and you need to visit, for example, the business lounges at the airports. That's something that we can detect, actually. We can gather your data, and we can check your data and know that you're going quite a lot to business lounges, and we can offer you a very, very special card that will provide you access to all business lounges, for example, in Europe. That will be quite interesting for you, definitely. And of course, we're talking about benefits. When we have business, when we have banks, of course, the profit is the main goal of every single bank. So that's one of the ways that we will personalize your experience as a user of a bank. Well, the future of AI in the banking is not only about personalization, fraud detection. We are talking about also improving processes. I'm sure that you are aware banks are quite regulated. They are quite observed, investigated. Every single day there are different trainings for the employees. They need to know what money laundering is, fraud detection, and so on. But we can improve the processes within the bank. And going back to the beginning of the presentation, I told you some data, I gave you some data. Well, that's the important bit. We have over 42,000 employees. And you need to make sure that every single employee within this organization is behaving ethically, on the first place. And we need to make sure that every single employee within the bank will act if they observe some fraud, money laundering, transfer of terrorist money from one bank account to another. So everything we need to make sure that the employees will be acting according to the regulations. So that's one of the things that we can improve. So every single process we can improve using the AI. Quite a lot of different things will be included. I've mentioned loans, credit cards, so that will be personalized for you. Definitely the next thing to improve is, of course, the security. Because, you know, probably you've heard the number of service attacks are quite open, and they're getting bigger and bigger because of the hardware price is dropping, and it's much easier to get a lot of hardware, more powerful, and it will provide powerful attacks. So the banks can observe the activity, not only on the website, but also the apps, also the systems that we use, and we can try to prevent them. So AI being implemented as a first line of defense can be quite helpful, and you don't need people observing all the time the logs in the systems in the bank, because it's quite boring. So the conclusion is, although the banks are old-fashioned, we transform very slowly. But being in the market where the concurrency is huge, once again, we talk about tech companies, we talk about big software companies, we need to change, we need to transform, and we need to adapt AI to our needs and to offer our customers better services and, of course, better profits for the bank as well. That's it.
Thank you so much. I see that the banks are following the pace, and the confidence is very important in your sector. So I think we are pretty much reassured for the moment. I guess we can ask questions after all the presentations. So I give the floor to Georgi Kirov from Exadel, who will talk about the battlefield, delivering AI-enabled solutions, some lessons learned from the battlefield. Please.
Right, and I must start by saying I'm speaking in front of people who have actually worked in defense, so I'll be treading very lightly. But what we mean by this, and first of all, Exadel is a global technology platform with over 3,000 people, many offices around the world, and I guess at this day, more than 40 solutions that have actually been deployed and are deployed every single day, which would quantify as AI, by any measure. So when we talk about the battlefield, this is it. Like, what are those things? And also, there's this second part of how do we actually, help businesses see the value in that, and more importantly, how do we sell those projects internally? That's one thing I wanted to talk about. And like, we're not going to go into like a lot of details, but rather a few snippets here and there about like what is interesting and what is why for us this is a new era and it's an interesting era, but also obviously what are some of the challenges from those opportunities. So my background is mathematics, whatever, but for over 13 years I've been bludgeoned by data and businesses and their actual needs. In my PhD program, it was actually obligatory to spend 5 or 6, to go through 5 or 6 consulting projects in real companies in order to get your degree. And this was tremendous, because you can see that no matter how good your models are, no matter how good your training and your idea is, the world is different and the world is constantly changing. So this is where I think the actual value is, like, how do we bring interesting ideas, and how do we spin and augment certain processes or parts of a product or functions. And I guess the great news is that today, given all of the billions and trillions of dollars that the VC industry has put in AI, it is much cheaper to make really interesting experiments. I know that experiment is a dirty word in business, but it really is. When the cost of validating a prototype falls by a factor of 10, you can actually build 2 or 3 of those prototypes, and this is what excites us. This process where first we build something very basic, we show some value, we show some actual KPIs, and then our partners take it in. And so the question is, like, how do we make this theirs, and how do we make it real? So this has been an ongoing project for about 2 years now, 2.5. A North American company that has 5 facilities, huge. They produce different parts for others. So you would send a CAD image of whatever it is to their web platform, and they will tell you a time and an estimate of how much this is going to cost you. And obviously, it's a very difficult and complex business, because they've got everything from 3D printing to CNC machining with 3 or 5 and whatever number of axes. And so what was interesting for them was, first of all, and their biggest issue was, okay, so we've got this whole complexity and we need to be digital, this is our mojo, but how do we do that, and how do we organize our pricing so that we make the most out of it? And since the 50s, there's the same strategy. First, you try to figure out what a process is, then you try to kind of control it if you can, and only then you deploy, so far it's statistics, and only then you start experimenting, you start bringing in some AI. And the interesting part here was obviously, so we built this huge neural network which was analyzing every single part, and they would have like 10,000 parts per day from aerospace customers who would want something by tomorrow. And so it had to be good, it had to be accurate, there was little room for error. But I guess the interesting part was you do have complexity, but and yeah, sure, the model was working great. We were managing to fill 90% of that order flow, but then we go towards deployment and towards implementing this huge beast. It's nothing compared to what the large language models are in terms of size and in terms of like just racks of computers that you need to run those things. But it turns out that these the software in which this thing needs to run will never be able to fit it, and it's going to take like 6 to 9 months to to figure out a solution. So we went back to the drawing board, and we actually designed a much simpler algorithm, which worse accuracy and worse performance, but that we were able to deploy in a matter of weeks. So there's a lot of that discovery of not only like the technical side, but also what is critical about the business. And unfortunately, like you need to go in and experiment to be able to to do that. But what really helps in in most in most use cases is to have super concrete KPIs. So this is a medical supplier who who came in with the idea of we need AI and we need we're crumbling, we need to go through many tenders and we don't know how to do it. And it's sure you can go from the technical angle, but the reason I love this this example is because it was actually the commercial team who, after 5 sessions with them about what is this thing and how do we organize experiments, they figured out, and they actually drove the case forward, and they pitched it and they defended it, and they brought it in. And what this is a system which helps them, given all of their historical record of tenders and requests for proposals, to automatically populate, given a new tender, huge parts of the documentation. And what's more important is how do we interact with that system, and how do we give it additional information when it, how do we give it a carrot, like what's the carrot and what's the stick? How do we change certain things, and how do we make sure that that it is the next iteration is actually better? So there's a lot of this exploitation and exploration that you need to do, and this is far important than the decrease of cost, is that it gets better and better, and more importantly, it's something internal. The client doesn't necessarily need us for this work, and so it becomes part of their corporate culture and part of their corporate strategy. So this is a radically different example. This is some work that we did for an investment fund, where it was much more driven by KPIs, but also by data, because the most important part about whether it's for in this case a commodity trading firm that does a lot of electricity trading, or anybody else, it's all about data. And the huge question is, how do you build a data flywheel which gathers space and which puts inside of that, let's call it annotated data, which has your specific source. How do you make your how do you make not only how do you make your competitive advantage bigger through data? And I think this is like basically like what we see time and time again. Like, you need to encode your information, and you need to design those feedback situations where you can annotate, you can improve continuously, and then. This is this use case is actually about construction, and specifically a very big construction owner of construction projects, and they came in with this idea of we have hundreds, if not thousands, of subcontractors. We have thousands of materials that we've worked with in the past. We have hundreds of buildings, and so when I need to select based on sustainability, safety, or other requirements, okay, so who's the best subcontractor to do this job for me? I don't know. It is actually 2 weeks of research to dig in the Excel files, and this is where I guess I wouldn't call it the magic, but this is where the structure, or like the semi-structure of AI, can actually help, because you get a large pool of unstructured information, and then you become and then turns out those models are very good at picking up different parts and picking just enough context so that you can structure that much better, and so that you can re-rank and you can say, okay, so probably in those 10, you know, in those 10 lie the 2 or 3 that you should consider. So yeah, you know, that's an internal project done at Exadel. How do we, you know, how do we help recruiters, and how do we, being GDPR compliant and everything else, how do we make the task of recruiting and figuring out like who are the right people for a specific job? How do we make that task much easier? And the big question is, okay, so how do we rank like the hundreds of thousands of developers or other, you know, technology professionals that we would consider? How do we rank them? How do we infer out of a missing LinkedIn profile what this person has actually done? So there's a lot of, you know, the commonality between all of this is like, how do we, like, as long as we have a good KPI in this case, you know, recruiters need to have a break. As long as you have some way forward, you know, you experiment and you carry a bunch of experiments which hopefully through the right evaluation lead you to something great. So yeah, like that's just a small summary that you know, doing validating features and validating ideas through AI is very impactful. And not only that, it can sometimes be cheaper. You know, we manage to be competitive to, you know, big technology companies with their full stacks of sales. It's also about culture, and it's also about instigating like the right culture to do this, so that everybody can do those experiments, whether it's commercial, marketing, etc. Then how do you build and how do you keep your data as private as possible, which is kind of difficult in the age of GPT. And then finally, like, how do you improve on that, on all of this mess? And yeah, this is what we're very excited about. One last thing I wanted to just briefly to touch, because this is something that we've seen is very difficult. Like, you know, right, so we're in front of us, there's a client, there's a company who wants to do something. And the question is, like, which budget is this going to come from? Like, is this technology? Is this marketing? Is this something else? One thing we figured out is that sometimes it's a great way to do it is to say that it's actually, this falls under the HR budget, because on the against the cost of, let's say, 2 additional project managers, you know, you're radically simplifying the life of the other 90 project managers. So there's really this question, like, do you attack the CFO, the CTO? Not the CTO, not necessarily. So that's, you know, just something, some other nugget I wanted to share. So yeah, you know, and as you know, for the, you know, for the historical context, I think that we need to be skeptical. We need to be very, you know, very honest about what AI is and what it isn't. It's a great enabler, but it's also very easy without the right people around you to, you know, to fall into a trap and to spend the next 6 months in something that's not going to work out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was very interesting to hear how to start, and I was thinking when you presented the last summary that now the most vulnerable people are the managers. In some way we think it's more automatic tasks, but sometimes it comes to management when we apply AI. So all the fields are
absolutely, and
covered.
you know, turns out like very often you would, you know, what a manager would, let's say, like write very good summaries and briefs, what they would think is their, you know, big value proposition. That's, you know, that part is easily, you know, automatable.
Replaceable, yeah.
But then the difficult part is like, how do we make the leaps of faith? How do we make the, you know, the interesting conclusions? And that's where managers should be focusing on.
Remain.
Right? Yeah.
Great. Now we'll have a great trash talk. Yes,
thank you.
Please. Just to present you Mila Goranova, senior consultant from Deloitte, Bulgaria, who will speak about AI in waste management.
Yes, that's the one. So yeah, today I'll be having a trash talk because I'll be talking about waste management.
So first of all, a little introduction about Deloitte. You probably know Deloitte as an audit company, but we also have a very big AI and data team in Central Europe. We're about 200 people. We have people that are very good in data visualization, data insight, Gen AI as of the last few months, because it is a big topic, and of course data science. So a little bit about me. I have strange experience. I have business experience. I have academic experience, but nowadays I work in the Sofia office of Deloitte and the AI and data company. So a little bit background information about where we are in terms of waste in the world. So the latest research by the World Bank said that we produce about 2 billion tons of municipal solid waste annually. So that is a huge, huge number. And about 33%, so that's a third of it, is not really managed in a safe way whatsoever. Unfortunately, if you can see the graph, we are producing more and more waste per person. So by 2050, we are probably going to be expected to produce more than twice the human population growth, in terms of that each person produces more waste each year, like after that. So if you look at the graph, Europe is not doing too bad, but I'm sure we can do better. We can use new technologies and new innovations to improve the way we are solving this problem. So what I'm going to do in the next few slides, I'm just going to go over some use cases that are used around the world and that, in my opinion, are not too difficult to implement, and things that we can see being introduced on local levels. So first of all, route planning. It's not really only a waste management example, but it's an example that could be used in many different industries. So specifically in waste management, there is a specific level of complexity when you are planning that route. So one of the things that we can do, we can optimize when you take in the local map. You can map out where the different locations are, if it's a recycling station, if it's a solid waste station, etc., etc. And you can map that, and you can optimize when is the best time for them to be collected, because I'm sure every one of you has been stuck behind a lorry while you're trying to get to work, and it's slow, and it's, and it's like putting that like little thing in your day that is like, oh, not today, I'm running late. So we can, that is one of the things that is definitely, needs to be forethought, but also the best thing that those things could be optimized on the fly. So for example, there is a traffic problem somewhere on a big boulevard, they're rerouted, they take the small streets first, and then they go on the big street where they need to collect the trash. And also weather conditions. We're seeing more and more kind of weather diverse events like floodings and like heat during the heat, like certain elements could melt. So that could be also something that could be organized on the fly. So yeah, that is, in my opinion, it's something that could be easily implemented. You collect the data, you optimize it, and you can develop it after that. So a little example from Athens. They have introduced a new waste collection system. It uses what they have done over there, they have put in sensors in the bin lorries, and because in the city center there are a lot of like small little streets that don't really have space to put in the really big bins. So you have a certain time on a certain day, most places just take out their recycling or they take out their trash and wait, and at some point in the day that trash is collected. However, because of the hot temperatures, you can imagine if you have food waste, that could become a bit of a problem, especially in the city center when you have a lot of tourists. It's not a very nice sight. So what they have done is they have collected all of the businesses and residents that wanted to be part of that, and they have subscribed them to a text message. So you get a text message saying, oh, the trash collector is going to be there in like 20-30 minutes, and you can go on, meet them, give their trash, and that's that, and it's done. And you don't have, trash that is on the streets. For example, there are a lot of birds that go and pick it, can open it, can like spread it around. So that is one way that in a very easy implementation, that problem could be solved. So that has been running now for a couple of years and has been very successful. They have optimized based on the data they've collected when is the good time to go into a certain neighborhood, etc. Another example is from Stirling, Scotland. I used to live in Stirling for a couple of years, so actually this bin was right in front of my flat from the time I lived there. And it's, in my opinion, it's a very cool project that they started. I think that was, they started investing in it and thinking about it like 2018, and it took them a few years to get the budget and get going. So they have introduced those solar compacting bins. So what does that mean? In the bin, there is a solar panel at the top, and it creates energy, and with that energy, whenever somebody puts in the trash, it keeps compressing it and compressing it. So it takes the little, like the least amount of space it's possible. And there's also a sensor, and including that sensor, it would tell the municipality how full is it. And there's like certain levels. Actually, if you go next to it, you can hear it and you can actually see the sensor. It's really interesting, but I don't have a good, I couldn't find a good enough photo of that. So when it reaches a certain capacity of being full, it sends a message to the waste collector, and they can program to go and go and pick up that that trash, empty it, etc. It started with about 30, I think, of those within the city, and over time I saw them being moved. So what they did is like all the data of actually collecting that was collected on a web interface, from what I gathered by the councilwoman that was in charge of this project. So she collected all the data and analyzed it over time, and they used AI to optimize where would be the best location to actually put a new bin, where a bin sits there for weeks without being empty. It could be swapped for a regular type of bin. So now it's optimized. They've introduced, I think, about 20 more of those bins, and yeah, it has been a very successful project, and the locals were very happy. And the best thing, because in Scotland seagulls are a big problem. Who's ever been to Scotland has seen them. They are seagull proof. So another one, again, it's from Northern Ireland. So Mallusk, that is near Belfast. They have in Northern Ireland, the way that trash is collected, you have like different bins, and you have very specific sort of recyclables that you can have. So you have to be very careful the plastic items you put in, the paper items, because not every paper item could be recycled, etc., etc. So what they introduced is in one of the stations, in the recycling stations, they have introduced an AR computer vision that was trained to identify the different types of trash. So this station, that belt, was specifically done for paper. So it was trained to recognize between the different types of paper they are, and it had a priority. So it had a robot hand that, based on what it sees on the belt with all of the trash kind of going around, it will pick up the right one and it will put it aside. So the priority in that case was the really kind of bulky, heavy items, items that could be, you know, a bit more like if a human has to pick it up, they would be a bit more on risk. So in that case, they have prioritized towards the safety of the workers. So yeah, it was trained on the way that the AI behind it was trained on images of the different types of paper, and the data was weighed, and they have chosen the latest model, and they've implemented it. So another cool thing about this, there's also, it comes with metrics. So once you actually have deployed your model, you can look at the metrics. You can see the type of materials that are mostly being recycled, that are mostly like picked from a specific neighborhood, etc., and for that time period. So you can actually create interesting data from the municipality about what is being, what recyclables they are, etc., etc. So here the interesting part is, what was the improvement? Was it better than just humans? So on average, a human can pick about 30 items per minute on these lines of recycling and sort them out. And when they introduced this, the robot was able to pick about 50 per minute, but that's on average again, because if it's smaller items, those robotic hands can pick up to 160 items per minute if optimized. So you can imagine like the 30 for the person and the 160 for the robot. It's a huge, huge improvement. But most of those, you know, in this specific example, it was only trained on cardboard and paper. But if you have like plastics, etc., you know, those times start to vary. Okay, and short conclusion. When we talk about waste, we can take like different ways and we can improve. We can improve the way that we pick up the litter, and here it's important because we can not only minimize traffic, you know, but we can also reduce the fuel costs. Most of those like big lorries that come and collect your trash are using a lot of fuel. They are using quite a lot of fuel. So by minimizing how much time they spend on the roads and by minimizing how much time, you know, how many routes they take, and by optimizing how often they need to come, you would reduce the fuel cost, but you would also reduce the emissions as well. We can also be smarter about how we collect waste. We can be smart about how we plan to collect the waste. And for example, maybe a bin lorry would not be the best solution. Maybe the way in Athens might be more might be more applicable to small cities. In, for example, in Sofia, they're very small cities in the city center. I'm not sure in some of those even if a bin lorry can drive down. So maybe that would be a more applicable situation. But also we can introduce smarter bins that compact the trash, you know, take less space, or we can and once I know recycling is not available in every neighborhood, but once it, like, hopefully it will, we can start to recycle that trash better. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A very important topic that is very much addressed by French big cities because they have to deal with tourists and a lot of population, small streets from the historical centers. As a matter of fact, I've seen the bins you were presenting. They even have names, which is the funny part of the artificial and human aspect.
That's quite funny. Yeah, I've seen in Sweden some of them actually make sound as well. They thank you when you put in the trash. Thank you,
and they say, I'm transforming, I'm compacting the trash. It's quite funny to have a personalized artificial object. So our next speaker, Vladimir Simeonov, Business Operations Director from Proxiad, who will present you another buddy, desk buddy, which is a friend of ours. We even use it in our office. So please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say that it's a bit hard to speak after that trash talk, but I'm seeing a lot of areas that we can collaborate and put that, because the topic today will be how we can use AI in our offices, in our day-to-day endeavors, and how we operate those offices. All the lecturers before us, the colleagues from Legrand and Konica mentioned a lot of hardware things that could be implemented and connected to the AI in order for us to have sustainable offices, sustainable productions as well. Georgi mentioned good cases that we need to be careful about AI earlier, because there is a lot of talks regarding the AI at home, but we need to be able to implement it. And as well, we spoke about data and how that data could be taken and used correctly, and I'll say a bit later about how we should make data-driven decisions regarding how we need to go and in which direction. Continue forward. Evolving workspace, what that means. The last couple of years were extremely dynamic regarding hybrid workplaces, working remote, returning people back to the office, taking decision on what's best for the business, causing a lot of troubles to the business, especially for the manufacturing business during the pandemics and the times after that. So we need to look a bit ahead, think about it, and just get the right decisions on what's next. And by using AI and taking in consideration all the things that we just mentioned, there is limitless opportunities on how we can use it in order to sustain our businesses and make that businesses work better, not only for us, but for our clients, customers, and everybody around us. The role of AI in that hybrid type of management could decrease the amount of working hours. We've already mentioned that. Could increase our productivity. And I can give a simple example. Let's say that we have an AI assistant, bot, name it, in your company. The time for companies like Deloitte, the time that it's taken to onboard thousands of new employees, it's getting bigger and bigger. And for me personally, I've met a lot of people today, but I've already forgot most of the names. I think it's usual thing for everybody. Imagine you're a new employee getting to a big company, a huge office, meeting 10, 20 people on your first day. Most likely we don't know the names of half of them, if even not more. So having such kind of an AI assistant that you can easily ask and he can point to the right direction of what you can do and basically do that task for you. For example, I want to get on vacation the next month and I don't know how much days off I have left. I can simply ask them and say, hey, can you help me? I want to go on vacation 2 days next week. How many days I've got? He can simply answer, okay, you got 10 days. And I can just say, okay, can you book me those 2 days as days off? Automatically set my replies to my email that's saying that I'll be off on those 2 days. So that's decreasing the time of even for our own working day activities and can help us focus on what's important for us and for the business, which I think is probably the greatest asset of having and using AI at the end. Because, yeah, probably there is a lot of discussions on AI will replace you on your job. I'm far away from that. I think we can just use AI and help ourselves and make us better. I've mentioned the data-driven decisions. There was questions about security of data. We spoke about gathering data. Basically, everything behind the AI is data and is the learning models and how we use that data to optimize, to automate the processes. The years back there was different topics aside of AI, robot process automation, all the platforms that are making simple processes automated. Right now there is a term that it's called lean AI, which is basically getting a simple process which is repeatedly in your company and make that process automated as possible, and just gathering the data after that you can take that data and work over the data and have a much successful result of that process. So the data is the thing, still is the thing. Somebody mentioned big data earlier. Big data is all around. The amount of data that we're producing, the amount of data that we're collecting it's going crazy. So we need to learn ourselves how to use that data correctly, how to basically put it in some use of our companies and in what we are doing. We mentioned a buddy. I'll go briefly through one of our products. It's a hybrid workplace management system, on top of which we are currently working on an AI assistant that can basically help you to book your desk in the office, help you schedule your meetings, tell you what's the best time to either leave your office or go to the office if there is available parking slots in that office. What is the system? It's extremely simple to use. That was our main idea behind it, just to make it fast and after a few clicks you can get your information and get your to the point you want in that system. We developed the solution just after, it was during COVID basically, because all of our employees were working remote and we had huge office, two floors, almost 3,000 square meters. And me and our CEO was meeting every morning downstairs on the parking lot, and after work hours again on the parking lot. And at some point we were, okay, we've got 2 floors and it's only, okay, not only 2 of us, but like 10 people coming to the office, and it's far away from optimizing our cost on that office. So we needed a solution, and we needed it fast. So we decided to go and develop that internally in the company, move to a much smaller office where we can use the system on a hybrid model and basically accommodate much higher percentage of employees on a much smaller area. And it seems to work perfectly fine for us, as you mentioned earlier, for the train chamber as well. Through an interactive floor plan, you can easily see the available desks or meeting rooms in your office. It could as well serve for an onboarding tool through the AI, because imagine you're a new employee and there is companies with whole buildings, tens of floors with different offices, and somebody just told you, okay, come visit me, 4 or 5 meeting room, I don't know, launchy. And for me as a new employee, this could take a lot of time, a lot of stress to find that meeting, to be there on time. For example, if I have another meeting just before that, I need to plan my time to just get to that floor, find the room. So that could cause a lot of stress. But having such kind of a tool and an assistant, you can just simply ask it and say, okay, I need to find that room, help me do that. And an AI assistant in such platform can help you and point you to that direction. If I can ask, there is a simple video of how the solution it works. It could take a few seconds to start it, but during that, as you can see down there in the chat, you can basically ask that assistant everything you want to get as information for your office. And speaking about information of the office, I'll get to the point about saving, because earlier we spoke about cost reduction of the offices, of electricity and stuff. Having that AI tool could point to the reports and say, okay, that area of your office, it's barely used, and for the last 3 weeks, there was only few people that reserved desk in that area. My suggestion is cut off that area, cut off the electricity, cut off the lighting, and just move those people to another area of the office and basically utilize our office much better and saving resources from electricity, boosting your collaboration, because from my experience, what I'm seeing is that people tend to sit on the same place, and they don't know even the person that is sitting next to them, because it's a colleague from a different team or could be a new employee. And making that kind of a twist in the seats, you can boost your productivity, meet the new people, and basically works for the company culture as well, like a good tool. Some of the things that the system could help you is you can basically implement your own policies of the company. To be sure, because again, if you're speaking about high volume of numbers of employees, in that kind of a hybrid remote work, you cannot be sure that this person is in the office at that day. And for example, if you have a policy for, let's say, 1 day per week visit to the office, it's going to be extremely hard, and it could take a lot of time and people effort to basically go through that information and see, okay, is that person who are in the office 5 days this month, is he fine with the policy that we have in the company? But having such kind of tool that can, for example, using a face recognition and say, okay, that person is in the office, I'll check him in on the desk that he chose and send a notification and have that report. And we are going in that circle about having the right data and using that data for the good of the business and the people inside. All the social features, I mentioned the collaboration, but you can easily find a colleague and go sit next to him. You can invite a colleague in the office. For example, I'm going almost every day in the office, but I want to meet a specific team member. I can just easily invite him and say, okay, you know, I'll be Wednesday in the office, why not come and visit and sit together, have a coffee, just make a one-to-one meeting, plan what's ahead of from business perspective. Again, from security and from privacy perspective, you can stay incognito. You can reserve a desk in your office as an incognito. Only the admin personnel can see that, because there is different points of view from privacy in the big companies, and not only in the big companies. So we need to be aware of that. Have the possibility from administration point of view to manage your whole office is a thing that the system could provide right now. I mentioned earlier you can cut off the whole areas of your office. You can get the information based on the machine learning that and basically the algorithm can tell you, okay, you're not using those meetings rooms, but you need to dedicate more desks to that specific team because they are every single day in the office. Why not cut off that meeting room and use it as a dedicated office for that specific team, because they are coming through the whole week and they are staying in the office, and aside of that, from collaboration point of view, they will be sitting together, and that can boost your work. The reporting, the data, I've mentioned that a few times. And something that is extremely high topic is how that whole thing applied to the ESG policies and compliance of the companies. It is a topic that it's hot. It's a topic that will get much hotter in the next few years. Having such kind of a system, you can easily track your carbon footprint, how much you're saving, because at any point, I know how much people come to the office. I know my total number of employees, and there is algorithms that you can just use and make that calculation and boost your ESG scoring. And yeah, it's pretty much like that. I don't want to waste much of your time. Something very important, because we spoke a lot about AI. 90% of the presentation you saw is AI generated.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks to the AI.
Yeah.
You see? Now we'll speak about human development based on AI with the founder of Omni Human Development Platform, Vaska Baklarova, creative founder. Please, the floor is yours. You need yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you still have the 10 minutes of your attention just to present you the impact of AI on the labor market, and in this case in Bulgaria. You see our small Omni Human Development Roboter. This robot is still under development since 2 years because this is actually the first AI which will connect the people with the companies, universities, and NGOs, actually because if we want to understand the AI, we have to keep the human heart. Let's think about the whole digitalization. Actually, the COVID period has helped us to see which are the possibilities of the digitalizations. I'm leading a very big production company, and it was impossible for us just to imagine how we can work at home and not to see the processes in the work in the factory. But this digitalization, the AI, will change the other IQs and AQs in our society. Because to use the new AI possibilities, we need new skills. But where we can get these new skills? We need new jobs positions. Are they still good described? Where we can find the descriptions of the new job positions. Actually, these are all the new problems of the society, of the business, and of the local environment. Let's think about the labor market all over the world. Actually, for 400 years, it has started just to movement of the employees from east to west with the found of America. And this is a very normal way just to find a new employees, to find new workers, if you take a look all over the world. But what's happening nowadays? Let's take an example with Germany. Next time I will check with France as well, but probably the next slide will help us as well. So if you open now the official Germany online website, you will find that Germany is looking for 320,000 skilled workers from all over the world. And I can tell you now that the Institute for Employment Research in Germany found in 2022 1,714,000 needed positions in the whole Germany. You can think about how the AI will improve our skills, but there are a lot of missing humans positions. And here the big question is how AI can help us just to improve our skills and to fill this gap for the missing human resources. Very popular people like Elon Musk and so on are telling us that the AI will that we will not need human workers because of the AI, but this is not true, because the AI can help to the people just to increase their possibilities, to make not so much failures, and just to take a look of the whole environment. And if you take a look in Europe, this is the employment rate for the last year. The percentage of total population in Germany is not so good, but it's better than in France and in Bulgaria. And if you take a look in Romania or Greece, a very big economic countries as well, the percentage of total population is not so much. On the other side, you see that the unemployment rate in 2023 is very, very low. That means that we still need a lot of workers, we still need the help of AI. Let's see what is happened in Bulgaria. Now, according to the Bulgarian National Statistical Institute, in this year we have 200 university students in Bulgaria. But more critical is the next number. We have only 36,000 graduate secondary school. That means that if we need workers in all of our positions, like we heard today, we need people. And where we can find these people? We can only teach them and we can only train them that they use the AIs and they use the knowledge from ourselves. The next problem in Bulgaria is that we have 31 unemployed people between 25 and 34 years. These are the most important years of every person. And actually here there is a study here that these people, they didn't found their job and they didn't found their mission as well. Let's think about how one economy is running. Actually, we have great ideas, like your ideas, like the Desk Buddy, and it becomes a running business. But probably you work alone or with one or two persons. When it goes really good, you need more and good employees which are skilled and very good qualified. If you find them, you can earn more money. But where you can find them? Will you take them from Bangladesh, from Africa, or you will take a look around in Bulgaria where you can find them? Let's say you you have the right people, you earn a lot of money, and after that the big question for every businessman or businesswoman is, now I have to pay the taxes. This is very good. Like the German and the France governments, actually I believe very good that when we pay the taxes, we help to our environment just growing up. The next question is, why our students are not staying in Bulgaria? Probably because of the environment, probably because of the whole history, how we are looking for our employees. So just with the very good economic, I think the business can help that the young people are staying in Bulgaria. And here our Omni robot can help you just to find your perfect employee. Let's think about which are the skills that you want that this person has, because the artificial intelligence can help you just to define the best skills that you want to have from one person, which interests they have, which goals they have. And on this way, we will help the companies just to connect the right students, the right people, and not to lose time and money. From the other side, me as a businesswoman with more than 300 employees, the first question is, who is responsible for one good employee? The most of us will tell, of course, the family. And here the mother, me as a mother of two small childs, my husband is telling me, here my daughter is now the second class, he's not so good on math, you have to teach her, you have to teach her. So yeah, this is the family point, but the second point is for sure the teachers. And me as a businesswoman, I can say it is the very important role of the business to teach the young people and to show the young people how they have to work, how they have to use their soft skills, because they're coming from the universities and they don't know anything about the work, about the business, about the soft skills. So here Omni can help to the students to understand the business environment and help on the business to teach on the right way the students and to stay in their companies. Just how can we improve your business with the AI? Artificial intelligence is very good, but you as a business owners, you have to know what work has to be done in your office. And if you can define what kind of a person is suitable to do this kind of job, what kind of skills this person has to improve all the time, this is the first question, and it's not so easy to define it. After that, we can help you after you have determined for sure the level of qualification, we can help you to find your best worker. This saves time and a lot of money for sure to every company. But the most important thing is, don't forget, the AI is only helping us to improve our skills. So think about how you can improve yourselves, your employees, and with the help of AI. Our mission is just to help to the Bulgarian's economy to be one of the greatest economies in Europe, and this can be done only if we have good workers, good trained workers with very good skills, and we have to create them. They're not just somewhere to find. We have to create them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now, of course, you have the chance to speak to real humans. So please, should you have any question on AI or on the projects, the companies we've heard, you're most welcome to intervene. Someone there?
Thank you for this very interesting discussion. And I will take the opportunity to suggest to both chambers, the French-Bulgarian and German-Bulgarian, maybe to organize sort of a discussion on taxation.
On taxation.
And the huge shifts that would be necessary in order to make this transformation of the labor market possible.
Of course.
Because
could you
it needs
introduce
time.
yourself? I forgot to ask you to introduce yourself.
Sorry?
Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Christy Liva, and I'm one of the founding members of the chamber, French-Bulgarian chamber.
Okay. Yes, why not taxation? We had just a few weeks ago an event about this topic. We spoke with Deloitte once again. Of course, when it comes to finances and taxes, we had a presentation with about the new development in the European, from the European Commission. There are a lot of instructions, and practically what I can conclude of what we heard is that you have the data, now give it to us. So the institutions are more than interested in this collection of data and the facility that it seems for the administration that it's very easy to collect the data. But for me, it's another job. I mean, all the companies, they have different activities in transport, in logistics, in banking, AI, and I mean transport or technology. And then just to provide data, collect it and supply it to someone in a specific form is not that easy. But it's true that how do we tax a work that has been done by a worker and work that has been done by a computer, which is working, a computer is working, of course, 24/7 without complaining, without being affiliated to any employers union. This in France could be a problem. Maybe the computer should be taxed as well. I guess European Union has an idea about this. So yes, this would be the next implication. And of course, we are ready to talk about it between our two chambers.
We have another question here.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, it's me. So, to present myself, I am Svetla. I come from Commerzbank. I am employer branding there. And I was intrigued by talking about talent acquisition through AI. And I wanted to ask, is that the end of talent acquisition?
We have two representatives who can speak about it. So
First, of course, obviously.
Have more experience because everything is under development now, and I see how difficult this is just to as a businesswoman to define the skills, and after that to give to the AI to find the right worker with the right employees with the soft skills that I need. For example, for me, the soft skills are much more important than what you have studied in the university, because the programs in the university, in the schools, they cannot be changed so fast like the businesses, because only in the last 3 years we have changed a lot of things. For example, in our production we have the most modern machines in Europe. How the students can learn about these machines in the university or in the school. So in Bulgaria we need a lot of time. Probably to get the whole data we need 2 years more, but this is the way just we can find the best workers and to create it.
I would start by saying this. So, you know, when I did my bachelor's in Paris, that was already like 15 years ago. You know, the program of that bachelor's modular one course is the same today, and yes, it's mathematics, but you know, the way we do math and the way we can apply it to the real world has changed dramatically. So you're right, absolutely. There's other stuff, and there's the element of grit, for instance. How do you find that? But I don't think that it's always useful to look at it from the macro perspective rather than micro perspectives. For instance, what are the tasks in the job of a recruiter or somebody who is working on finding exceptional talent for an exceptional project? What are the tasks that are menial? What are the tasks that can be automated at 80%, at 90%? Nobody's talking about, just changing the human experience, rather augmenting the human experience. How can we do that in a safe, controlled, updatable fashion? There's an industry term, reinforcement learning through human feedback. That's what this is. How do you give feedback to the system so that the next iteration is better? And this is really the crux of it. Maybe something a little bit more concrete. For instance, pre-screening. This is what the team at Exadel were focusing on. Like, this is the really difficult part, and this is the part where it's not so much about judgment, but after that, obviously, recruiting specialists, people who know technology from the inside out. That's where they come in, but there's also this it's not a clear cut. 3 iterations ago, the pre-screening was much smaller because we were not able to analyze so much information. But now that we managed to annotate better, to actually infer what people have been working on before, it's the AI starts to give some suggestions. So we give it a little bit more of a leap of faith, and then if it doesn't work, well, it's up to the next iteration.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
It's again that circle. We are back to the data that we're collecting. It could speed up the process of finding people to recruit, but that's not necessarily will be that, okay, I will definitely recruit from that pool, because it's again, you have that so-called soft skills, you got the empathy needed to hire someone for that specific job. So yeah, it could speed up the process of analyzing big amounts of talents, of data, and ease the job of the recruiters, but as I mentioned earlier, we will not change the aspect of how we're working. It's just help it. So
yes, the interesting part is the decision-making process. For me, it's what are the criteria? Because of course there are KPIs, there are factors. We can measure a lot of things, but then decision somehow is very subjective, and this is the learnings. You wanted to ask something more?
Yes, actually, I wanted to add that maybe AI will take out subjectivity in the current process, because we keep try to teach people to fight biases. Nevertheless, biases remain. So maybe AI is the way to remove this subjectivity.
This is why I was impressed that the European Parliament is envisaging AI in justice affairs, which is really on the paper. For me, it's perfect, let's say, the best way to fight corruption, to improve transparency. But then the courts, if they become AI ruled and based, it could be interesting for us humans to comply.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have 2 more questions.
Thank you to all participants for the openness and the insights. And we saw some great use cases, banking, waste management, all of those things are great, out of the question. But usually they are large-scale projects. Those projects which the IT industry were coming from, we love it because it's a huge project. It's quite expensive, obviously. Now the reality is that if you go to the European Union statistics, 99% of the businesses are small-sized businesses, 50 up to 250 FTE. Now, all the dialogue that we're having, even right now, and in the whole public space, is about this 1%. So where is the 99%? And I'm dealing with this subject from one and another aspect. There are really a lot of challenges in front of the small and medium-sized business when it comes to AI, data-driven, etc., etc. But the question is towards Georgi, of course, can be expanded to anyone else from the panelists. If you go down to the scale, we're not talking about, let's say, 2 years project, unlimited budget is usually. How we can conquer this 99%, because that's the huge untapped potential. And to finalize with this, we're talking about the technology as the big equalizer in the society. If you're good with tech, then it doesn't matter whether you're 1,000 people or 50. So let's put this equalizer into motion instead of just trying to whoever pays more.
So you know, I think it's it is an equalizer in terms of the power laws of business as well, in the sense that you can experiment, and I've seen prototypes and that become solutions for 10,000 euros, and you know, something which takes a good developer like a week to develop, and this becomes like a cornerstone of you know, of a solution. We had a bunch of cases for from legal firms. There has been one, for instance, in an investment fund. They're very rich, but they are very stingy. So we had to basically we had to a colleague of mine did the prototype in about 3 days, showed it to them, and now said, now give us the money. So I would say, like, you're right, but then like the fun is in the experimenting and in figuring out how this technology can be effective for you. Like whether it's services, there's a ton of services that can help you leverage things better. For instance, internal knowledge, like how do you organize it better? Well, today, you know, if you price, okay, how do we get all of your emails and Excels and everything under one roof, you know, make a huge knowledge graph, and then on top of that build a semantic search layer. Well, that's actually a project that is going to cost like 1 month of a dev team. At least, of course, there's the asterisk. You know, you need a dev team that has done two or three of those, like we've done. But I don't think it's that bad for small businesses. Quite the opposite. Like I think like it's a big enabler for, you know, for weird and beautiful and daring ideas. Yeah, that's my. Yeah.
And we have one last question.
Hello, Teodora from Childish AI. Going back to reinforcement learning and machine learning that you mentioned, and here comes my two questions. Where do you get the data for in case of HR tools that you presented? And also, is it trustful? And have you thought of sharing data between, yeah, like open banking, but open HR?
So I guess the question is again about goes back to me, but yeah, is it stressful? And so the data we have is a custom data set, which is absolutely.
Is it trustful? Trustful.
In the sense of trustworthy AI, I would say so, because we make very small targeted experiments that, you know, there's experimental design. So, and I think that's the only way to, you know, to go for it. And your previous question was?
Where do you get the data from?
Well, every big recruiting every company that recruits would have a big GDPR compliant, you know, list of data sources. So we use official data sources only. So for instance, if it's, I mentioned, let's say LinkedIn data, there's certain regulations about how you can use them, how you can store them, and even like that's still in debate, like whether if you build some AI tool which, you know, is built on, let's say, a bunch of iterations over LinkedIn data, what's a good profile, what's not a good profile, even that derivative work, that model might still be infringing. So we are very, very careful about that. But I should say, you know, this is like, that's still a work in progress. But we're trying to do this in the right way, so that, and the big task is actually, okay, so how can we annotate profiles and, you know, people better, and how can we get a better read on people so that the recruiters can do their jobs? It's not about, it's, so we kind of try to flip it a little bit. I hope that answers your question.
And is there any idea of like sharing all this data between all kind of AI tools for recruiting?
You know, a lot of the, so what we're using is either, you know, open source platforms or, you know, internal data sources. So the internal part about like how do the recruiters, you know, actually do their magic, this even the researchers who are involved in this project, they would never know that, because we think that this is, specific company stuff. But if we come up with tooling that's going to be useful, absolutely. And I think I don't think it's going to be me, but some of the colleagues who are like in the day in and day out of that project, I'm pretty sure they're going to, to share stuff about like what we've learned about it. But so I guess, yeah, like we do have two specific small, pieces of tooling that we think might be useful for the open source community. So we're thinking in that direction. But first we have a Monday to ship, and after that we'll see.
Thank you.
I think it's we don't notice it, but in yes,
I'm
just to comment something. We don't notice it, but we are in this social deal with all the we share our data every day, even without thinking, without when we use our mobile phone, we already share without being conscious, but we participate in this deal. I share, so you recruit me. It's a social contract for me. Yes, Stasia, please.
There is a last question from Mr. Mikhailov.
Okay.
Hello, thanks. As a human in the AI forum, I'm supposed to say something.
Not for long, not for long.
Something smart, I believe. According to the small businesses, I think there will be a huge amount of applications that can be delivered. As I take as an example, for example, in an inventive way, I thought we discussed with a client of mine that is in the wool about the quality process of the wool, and that is very specific task that is delivered by only experienced specialists. And there are a lot of applications that can be done in the very small businesses. And according to the human resources, I think what Vesela said is very important, because the decision-making process, in my very early years, I think we share the same school with Mr. Kirov, that is Dauphine, and I discovered in the decision-making program where I studied that, there is a concern about decision-making. It means that if you put data and you take data from somewhere and you don't know exactly how it is processed, we call it black box, effect. So if you take decisions coming from a black box, you don't master your decision. This is why I think it's very important to have, let's say, a quality follow-up of the AI process in order to be sure that the decision makings are good enough and that we have enough freedom also to stay human and to remain inventive, imaginative, and in this way also more creative than the AI. So I'll just leave it to your comments.
But it's a good conclusion, but you're most welcome if someone wants to comment or to ask a detail. Of course, we have our small networking lunch, which is also a good platform, still very human, very physical. And nothing has been selected by AI for the moment, but it's a next step. So yes, maybe we can give the floor to everyone to exchange. And I once again want to thank you in my name and in the name of the colleagues from the German Bulgarian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We were most happy to invite you to listen to the presentations and to keep the pace of this development, and see you probably next year. We'll see how the development will be there. And I just wanted to mention for Desk Buddy, for example, we use it for external users, and this is very important. It also comes to data sharing and easiness of usage of such a tool. For us, it's very important as a chamber. So please, we have some lunch.
And French wine.
Oh, yes.